Neither of them. Well, I'd have to look at Brady's numbers more closely for Offensive Player of the Year, but I'm pretty certain that at this point in time, Carson Palmer has at least as many or more touchdowns than Tom Brady with a worse and a more difficult schedule. So, at any rate, 2 games dropped by the Patriots now. But when we were talking about it before the show, Weasel brought up the very interesting question, will the Patriots reclaim the 3rd seed? Because with this loss now, I believe they are reclaim the 2nd seed. I believe with this loss, they're now the 3rd seed in the AFC, which feels really wrong saying that. Of course, the Patriots' losses are the Broncos and now, of course, the Eagles.
Well, as for the Patriots possibly being the number 3 seed, you got to look at the other teams. Like you got the Cincinnati Bengals, who
Right.
I don't think they've had like too many questionable losses. Only 2 of them, and so I think they haven't had the rash of injuries that the Patriots had.
Yeah.
And then you got the Denver Broncos, who no matter what happens on offense, the defense is one of the best in the NFL. So
the Bengals' defense isn't bad either. Let's call that what it is, too.
So I think with the Patriots, if they play like a respectable team that can put points on the board, I see them going down. So I'd say they would stick with the 3rd seed.
Yeah, problem is the Patriots' schedule is pretty weak. I believe 2 of the teams are the Titans and the Dolphins, and of course, this coming Sunday where I'll be in attendance is the Texans. Not exactly a bunch of juggernauts on that schedule, Weasel.
The Eagles, they're not exactly a top 10 team at all.
Uh-oh.
So it's one of those things that the Eagles kind of were done, I thought. But Brady, they took it to him, and the injuries that they have is on offense and defense. I don't even know if there's many of them at all, but
on defense there's a few.
But what it comes down to is that I think the defense of the Cincinnati Bengals and the defense of the Broncos, they got one up on the Patriots.
Here's one thing you need to be reminded of, Weasel, and it's something you have to recognize. Rob Gronkowski is going to be back next week.
You can't handle the truth.
We shall see.
We shall see. You know what we'll see?
You can't handle the truth.
I don't know why I had to do that. I just like that clip. Moving on. So, yeah, Gronk will be back next week. Hey, look, my goal is just to see J.J. Watt sack Tom Brady. I'm hot for Watt. Boom. Whatever. So, the last game, the Carolina Panthers head to the division rival New Orleans Saints. Chris, break it down.
We knew the Panthers' offense could put up points against the Saints' defense, like the Panthers have been putting up the last few weeks. But the Saints held with them in a shootout. The Panthers stayed undefeated, though, with a 41-38 victory. Cam Newton, making his MVP candidacy case strong, was 28 for 41 for 331 yards, 5 touchdowns, an INT. And he should have had at least one more touchdown pass if it wasn't for Ted Ginn Jr. Dropping a few balls down the field.
I would have said at least two more.
Go ahead.
I said I would have said at least 2 more rather than just 1 more for Ginn.
Well, one was he was going in the end zone, they settled for a field goal. The other one, they scored on the drive anyway. That's why I said 1 more.
Shut up, Bennett. Well, okay, yeah, you're right. Never mind. Go ahead.
Jonathan Stewart had 82 rushing yards and a touchdown. Greg Olsen had 9 catches for 129 yards. Tim Gidd had 5 for 80 with 2 touchdowns. 5 of those catches were on 10 targets, so he got 50% of the balls.
That's so awful.
And he could have easily had 100 more yards if he didn't drop the ball either, because 2 of them were deep balls down the field that he got behind the secondary, and he just dropped the ball. Jericho Cottrell, Mike Tolbert, and rookie Devin Funchess each had a touchdown catch. For the Saints, Drew Brees was 24 for 42 for 282 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an INT. Mark Ingram had a touchdown run. Brandon Cooks had 6 catches for 104 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Coleman had 73 and a touchdown, and tight end Ben Watson had a touchdown.
You know what?
The reason why this game was so close was turnovers: 3 for the Panthers, 1 for the Saints.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell the Panthers were mailing it in from moment one. And look, I'm with you that Cam proved in this game why he's the MVP. There's no question there. From, slinging the ball down the field, throwing 5 touchdowns and throwing up 42 points to, a play action fake on 4th down where he fakes a handoff to Stewart, has a great fake, and then just takes it himself for about a 20, 30-yard scamper on 4th down to convert a big conversion. And look, guys, Cam Newton is probably the biggest factor why they won this game offensively. There's just not a question there. However, I do have to call him out because, granted, it was when the Panthers tied the game up, I believe, at 14 apiece. Newton had an opportunity to run the football in, and then he slowed up. He pulled up and got jacked in the head. I don't think he got hit in the head, actually, but he got hit high and just jacked very hard by a Saints linebacker. No, don't make that face, Weasel. He got hit very hard, you perv. Moving on. So the point is, if he had run full speed and gotten the touchdown before sloughing off, he wouldn't have got hit like that. When he got hit like that, he went into concussion protocol and left the game for the half pretty much under concussion protocol. Now, he was fine. He was found fine, no signs of concussion, all that. But the punchline here is, because he sloughed off, because he spent time smiling, he put the entire franchise at risk. Because if he ended up with a concussion, you could probably, well, it's not a lock, but you could probably have put 16-0 possibilities out the window. And if he got hurt for any length of time, Carolina could be going back to a Super Bowl potentially for the first time since Jake Delhomme back in, I'm going to guess, 2003? Does that sound about right? I don't know. The point is this. It's a long bleeping time. All because you sloughed your sorry butt off going into the end zone. Yeah, I know it's one play, but that's all it takes. Look, I'm a Cam Newton guy, but I saw that play, and I'm not a guy who thinks that Cam Newton is selfish per se, but right then he was. And if I'm Riverboat Ron Rivera, which we all know how I feel about him as a coach, if I'm him, I'm reminding you, step your game up. You cannot slough off like this. Forget about if you want 16-0. If you want a Super Bowl, this can't happen, and you watched it happen to a team that had probably the best coach in our era. Anyways, rant over. You got anything else, Chris?
No, just really, the Panthers are 12-0 right now. Do you really see them losing a game this season? Just the regular season, not including playoffs. The remaining schedule, they got the Falcons twice, the Giants, and the Bucks.
So, I'm going to be honest. If I'm first of all, who's the Week 17 game? Is the Week 17 game the Bucks or the Falcons?
Bucks?
It is the Bucks. That's good news for the Bucks. Unless they're 15-0, because then they'll definitely play them full strength. And they have the Falcons twice. We know how I feel about them. The scariest game on that schedule, honestly, the New York Giants. Without question. They need the game, and we have past precedent for this team to go out and go against the team trying for 16-0. Granted, it won't be in Week 17, but we know they play to their opposition. I think the Giants, you know what? When it comes to the Giants,
It's a trap.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to say no. I don't think they win all of these games. Because the Dirty Birds, they have to play them twice. That adds drama. The Giants, I can't look past them. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they lose one of these games. Weasel.
I think it's the thing about the Falcons. It's 2 games and it's a division game, so very well. Even though the Falcons are pretty much doing crappy for the past 6-7 weeks.
Oh, they're crappy birds, not just dirty birds.
Yeah. Crappy birds, that works too. I like it. So, but the thing is that you got a team like the Saints who, they have a terrible defense, and then they put up all those points against the Panthers defense. It's one of those things that they can very well lose it, but their schedule, it just matters what Falcons team you get. Do you get the 5-0 Falcons or the one that lost like 6 of 7?
Interesting point, my friend. I'll put it this way: if the Panthers do go 16-0, they're going to point. I think people will point to this game as being the reality check that kept them playing hard for the rest of the year. What about you, Chris? Where do you fall in that?
Yeah, well, I can see them going easily 16-0. I think the hardest game really is going to be the Bucks, just because how the Bucks are playing. But then again, the Panthers can shut down the run, so that could limit the Bucks there. Giants, I think the defense is too much for the Giants, the Panther defense. And then also, I mean, you look at the Falcons, they play the Falcons and the Giants and the Falcons again. So, I mean, there's no rest between those 2 weeks there. Anything can happen in there. But really, I can see them easily going 16-0 just because looking of the strength of the schedule of who they have to play against.
So, Weasel, do you take issue with the Bucks as the toughest game there, or was that? Because I saw you shake your head no.
Oh, no. It's I think with the Bucks, you're looking at they're kind of, I would say, not really a mirror type thing, but you have Cam Newton and Jameis Winston. The thing is that in the beginning of the year, get a couple touchdowns or so. But the thing is as this year went by, Jameis Winston, he's putting up good numbers. I think he's like 4 touchdowns. I think he had a 5 touchdown game, right?
Against the Titans, he had 4 touchdowns. Did he? I'd have to look to see if he had a 5 touchdown game, but he has at least 1, maybe 2 4 touchdown games.
Any way you look at it, when you have him, when you have Winston, you have Doug Martin, you got I guess Vincent Jackson, I think he's playing now, and they also got last year he was a rookie.
Let me correct one thing I said against the Titans. No, that was against the Saints. He had a 4 touchdown game. That's why I screwed that up.
Yeah, so he can very well, he could beat that team. So
interesting.
The players on that team, the defense, they rally behind him, and that's part of being a leader. And all of the draft stuff you've heard, and with immaturity and stuff, but the guy is on the field. He's on the upper half of the NFL.
Seems to be doing his thing. Anything else there, Chris?
No, that's it.
With that, steady how. So, how we looking there, Chris?
Last week, Weasel was 8-7. I was 11-4, and you were 12-3.
Oops.
Whatever.
Oh, by the way, Chris, just so I can get it out of the way, I'm creeping up!
So right now I have a 2-game lead over Kyle, and I have an 11-game lead over Weasel.
My goal is single digits.
Weasel's going to start swinging for the fences. Yeah, boy. First game.
All right, we got Thursday night. We got the Vikings at the Cardinals. His defense, Cardinals, they can shut down Adrian Peterson, so I'm going to go Cardinals.
Interesting. I'm in a position to think that the balanced Cardinals offense is too much for the Vikings defense. I basically don't care what Adrian Peterson does because it won't be as much as Carson Palmer and company will do. I have the Arizona Cardinals. Weasel.
Right now, I think Carson Palmer is he's kind of able to throw a lot of touchdown passes.
MVP candidate.
Huge points on the board.
Oh, yeah.
Yards, which is Teddy Bridgewater. He's still working on trying to get more than 1 touchdown a game. So, that being said, Cardinals.
I bet you wish the Vikings would play the Saints so that would happen.
I don't know if it would.
I can't front on that. Chris.
All right, next you get the Bills at the Eagles. Eagles was a fluke against the Patriots the other day. The Bills don't have an aging Tom Brady. They have Tyrod Taylor. See what I did there? I'm going Bills.
Did. I have no reason to believe that the Eagles will pull 2 miracles in a row off like that. I got the Bills. Weasel.
I have the Bills also.
Rounding it out. Chris, next.
Next, you get the toilet bowl game. You get the Niners against the Browns. Johnny Manziel is going to be starting for the Browns this week, is what the initial reports coming out. But all that, I'm still going to go with the Niners because it is the Browns.
Probably damning my team to lose this game. I'm picking the Niners just because. Seems like the right thing to do. Call me a homer, whatever. Weasel.
I definitely have the Niners.